Why do so many people lose themselves during the very seasons they once prayed for? Why does abundance sometimes distort a person more than hardship ever did? Because this is not a message about pleasure. This is a message about summer. There is a difference. After winter, after survival, after the terrifying reopening of spring, summer. Summer arrives carrying warmth. This is not only physical warmth, no, existential warmth. Life begins feeling inhabitable, expansive, emotionally reachable again. A person loves more easily, a person moves more freely, a person desires more honestly. The nervous system softens. And after enough cold, that softening, that softening can feel almost miraculous. Summer is sensual in the deepest sense, not merely in the sexual sense, no, though sexuality belongs to it, of course, but summer heightens appetite, attraction, embodiment, movement, visibility, social energy, beauty, pleasure, emotional openness. The body feels more alive. The world feels more touchable. Even ordinary moments carrying atmosphere. A long evening, warm air through the open window, cold champagne against the hand, sea salt lingering on the skin, conversations stretching into the small hours, strawberries and cream beneath sunlight. Summer reminds human beings that life was never meant to feel purely functional. And this is where the danger quietly begins. Because summer whispers something quite seductive. This will continue forever. The warmth, the beauty, the momentum, the intensity, the pleasure, the attention, the abundance. A person begins believing perhaps the difficult years are finally over. And that belief can become, say, intoxicating. Not during hardship, during expansion. Because winter contracts identity, but summer tests identity. With summer comes the test if a person is able to remain coherent while life becomes beautiful again. With comes the test if they can enjoy abundance without becoming consumed by it? Can they experience pleasure without dissolving into indulgence? Can they? Can they remain internally governed while the world around them becomes warm, becomes alive, becomes inviting, becomes seductive? That is the real summer question. You see, summer naturally draws people toward luxury, and rightly so. Not because luxury is inherently materialistic, no, but because summer awakens sensuality, atmosphere, refinement, embodiment, conscious enjoyment. A beautiful meal, a yacht crossing still water, perfect tailoring against sunlit skin, the ground of glasses touching during golden hour, a home that feels lived in rather than merely owned. These things are not shallow by nature, no. These things become shallow only when consciousness disappears from them. You see, there is a difference between luxury and inhabited elegance. Luxury without presence quickly becomes performance, noise, status theater. But inhabited elegance feels different. It is quieter. It is more conscious, more embodied. A person no longer chases experiences in order to prove to themselves they are alive. They experience life beautifully because they are finally present enough to inhabit it. That is summer at its highest expression. But summer constantly tempts excess, excess pleasure, excess stimulation, excess socializing, excess visibility, excess consumption, excess performance. Because summer creates the illusion that stewardship is no longer necessary. A person begins relaxing everything, relaxing discipline, relaxing structure, relaxing discernment, relaxing internal listening. Not dramatically, no, gradually. And that gradual dissipation is how many people quietly lose themselves. This is why stewardship matters so deeply. Not restriction, not denial, stewardship. The ability to enjoy beauty consciously, to inhabit abundance coherently, to remain grounded during expansion, and to experience pleasure without becoming possessed by it. You see, summer is not asking, can you suffer? No. Summer is asking, Can you remain yourself while life becomes magnificent? That is a much rarer skill. Some also increases visibility because people emerge more fully. Social fields widen. Presence intensifies. And visibility can change people. Some become inflated by attention. Others become performative. Others disappear. They disappear into the very abundance they once desired. Because visibility tests coherence. Visibility tests coherence, especially when life finally begins reflecting back beauty, attraction, opportunity, affirmation, expansion. Summer asks, will you inhabit visibility or perform inside it? Perhaps the greatest illusion of summer is forgetting that seasons continue. You see, summer makes people believe that intensity is permanent, that beauty will remain untouched, that momentum cannot fade, and that pleasure requires no stewardship. But autumn is always somewhere beyond the horizon, quietly approaching. And wise people remember this. And remember this without becoming fearful. Because awareness, awareness of impermanence does not destroy beauty. It deepens appreciation. Look, summer is magnificent. Summer should be enjoyed deeply, consciously. The problem is not pleasure. The problem is unconscious inhabitation. Hmm. It's when people begin consuming life instead of living it. When luxury becomes sedation. When abundance becomes identity. When stimulation replaces presence. That is where summer becomes dangerous. The highest form of summer is not excess. It is coherence inside abundance. The person fully alive without becoming fragmented. The person fully embodied without becoming performative. A person surrounded by beauty without needing beauty to validate their existence. That is rare, and that is also profoundly elegant. Perhaps that is the truest test of summer. Is, can warmth touch your life without dissolving your structure? Can pleasure enter your world without replacing your authorship? Can life become beautiful without making you unconscious. That is the real stewardship of summer. And for those who require refinement beyond what is shared here, there are forms of work not conducted in public. Access exists. Summer is not merely a season of pleasure, it is a season of stewardship. Because many people survive hardship only to lose themselves inside abundance. So enjoy the warmth, enjoy the beauty, enjoy the long evenings and inhabited elegance of life. But remember, the purpose of summer is not to escape yourself. It is to learn whether you can remain fully yourself while life finally begins feeling beautiful again.